Welcome back to our channel, World of Coins. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them because it could make you a millionaire overnight. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got something truly exciting for you, an iconic piece of American history that could make you a fortune. We're talking about the United States bicentennial quarter dollar, issued in 1976 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the American Revolution. This coin might just be sitting in your collection or even your spare change, waiting to surprise you with a huge payday. So, let's dive into what makes this coin so special and what it could be worth today. The 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarter was produced to mark a significant milestone, the 200th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. It was issued by the U.S. Mint as part of a nationwide celebration. What makes this coin stand out is its unique design and the history it represents. Unlike most regular quarters, the bicentennial quarter features a special reverse design, an image of the colonial drummer, representing the spirit of freedom and patriotism that fueled America's fight for independence. This design, created by artist Jack Ahr, is a vivid symbol of the country's birth and its ongoing journey towards liberty and unity. On the obverse side, you'll still find the familiar portrait of George Washington, as this coin was part of the ongoing quarter series. Now, you might think that since these coins were widely circulated back in 1976, they wouldn't be worth much today. But here's where things get interesting. Because of the special nature of the bicentennial quarter, some of these coins have actually become quite valuable, especially when they're in excellent condition or have rare variations. Over the years, some of these quarters have emerged as prized collectibles, and their value has skyrocketed. There's a particularly rare version of the bicentennial quarter that features a unique error, such as a double die or an unusual strike. These errors can significantly increase the coin's worth, making it far more valuable than your average quarter. If you happen to come across a 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarter in mint condition, free from scratches, dents, or signs of wear, you're in luck. These coins are highly sought after by collectors, and they can fetch impressive prices on the market. Some uncirculated versions, especially those with the right error or minting anomaly, have been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars. But now, for the real showstopper, are you ready to hear what one of these rare, pristine bicentennial quarters can go for? If you find a coin in exceptional condition, with the right error or a particularly rare variant, it could easily be worth $109,000. That's right, $109,000 for a single quarter. Imagine holding onto a piece of history that could be worth a small fortune. Who knew a coin that was designed to celebrate the 200th anniversary of America's independence could go on to become such a valuable collector's item? So, if you've got any bicentennial quarters tucked away in your collection, or even if you find one lying around in your spare change, make sure you take a closer look. It could be the start of your very own coin collection goldmine. Top 2, we're shining a spotlight on a quarter that you might have in your collection, or maybe even in your pocket right now, the 1979 United States quarter dollar. This seemingly ordinary coin is actually a hidden gem that could be worth a lot more than you think. Stick around as we uncover what makes this particular quarter so special, and just how much it could fetch in today's market. Let's take a trip back to 1979. The United States was in the midst of some significant changes, with a shift in political and economic dynamics. That year marked the end of the 1970s, and the U.S. Mint was still producing the standard Washington quarters that had been in circulation for years. However, something about the 1979 quarter stands out, especially for collectors, and that's what we'll dive into today. In terms of design, the 1979 quarter dollar follows the same basic look as previous Washington quarters, with George Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. Nothing seems out of the ordinary at first glance, right? But here's the twist: some of the 1979 quarters have unique features or subtle errors that set them apart. These variations make them much more valuable than most people realize. The most intriguing feature is related to the minting process. A small batch of 1979 quarters was struck with a double die error, where the design was unintentionally stamped twice during the minting process. This error can cause the date, lettering, and even the details of Washington's face to appear doubled or distorted, giving the coin a distinctive and rare look. These double-die quarters are the ones that have caught the attention of collectors and can demand incredibly high prices. In addition to the double-die error, some 1979 quarters were produced with slight minting inconsistencies, things like misaligned designs or off-center strikes, which can also make them more valuable. These small imperfections may seem like defects to the untrained eye, but to collectors, they are what make the coin rare and worth chasing. Another key factor in determining the value of a 1979 quarter is its condition. As with all rare coins, the better the condition, the higher the price. Coins that are well preserved and show minimal signs of wear are much more desirable, as they're much harder to find in circulation. A coin that has been carefully stored, handled, and kept in near mint condition can fetch a premium price in the marketplace. So, what's the big reveal? How much can a 1979 United States quarter be worth? If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare double-die error coins in mint condition, or if you've stumbled upon a quarter with other significant minting anomalies, you could be holding on to a coin that's worth $92,000. That's right, $92,000 for a single quarter. It's incredible to think that a coin that was once just a part of everyday change can now be worth so much. So, if you happen to have a 1979 quarter hiding in your collection, or if you find one while sorting through your loose change, make sure to give it a closer inspection. You might just be holding a rare piece of history with a value that could change your life. Top 3. We're diving deep into one of the most intriguing coins from the United States, a coin that could be worth far more than you'd ever imagine. I'm talking about the 1974 United States quarter dollar, a coin that may be sitting right in your collection or even in your pocket right now, waiting to surprise you with its value. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know why this quarter could be worth a small fortune. At first glance, the 1974 quarter might seem like just another standard Washington quarter, with George Washington's iconic portrait on the front and an eagle on the reverse. It's been in circulation for decades, so it's easy to overlook. But what most people don't realize is that there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye, and the value of some 1974 quarters can actually be staggering. So, what's the deal with this quarter? Well, just like with other years, the 1974 quarter was part of the regular coin series issued by the U.S. Mint. But here's the kicker: some of these quarters were produced with rare minting errors, and these mistakes can make the coin extremely valuable to collectors. One of the most sought-after versions of the 1974 quarter is the double-die error coin. This happens when the die used to stamp the coin is misaligned, causing the image to be stamped more than once, creating a double image effect. It can be especially noticeable in the date, letters, or even the details of Washington's portrait. Double-die errors are one of the most highly coveted types of minting mistakes, and collectors will pay top dollar for these kinds of coins. But that's not the only error to look for. Some 1974 quarters were struck with other unique features, like off-center strikes or unusual metal compositions, which can make them stand out from the rest of the coins produced that year. In addition to errors, the condition of the coin is another huge factor that can influence its value. A coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is always worth more than a worn, heavily circulated one. The more details you can clearly see on the coin, without any visible scratches, dents, or discoloration, the more valuable it is. Coins that have been preserved in excellent condition are much harder to find, and they can command a significant premium on the market. So, you might be wondering, how much can a 1974 quarter be worth? Well, it all depends on the rarity of the coin and the condition it's in. If you happen to have one of those rare double-die error coins or another variation that's in mint condition, you could be sitting on a fortune. Coins like these have been known to fetch $99,000, yes, $99,000 for just one single quarter. Imagine the shock of finding out that a coin you thought was just another piece of change could be worth so much. If you've got any 1974 quarters lying around, it might be time to take a closer look at them. Who knows, you could have a rare treasure in your hands, ready to be sold for a life-changing amount. Top 4, we've got something truly exciting to talk about, a coin from the United States that you might have tucked away in your collection or even casually overlooked. That's right, we're talking about the 1983 United States quarter dollar. It might seem like just another coin from the 80s, but believe it or not, this quarter could be worth a lot more than you ever imagined. Stay with us as we explore what makes this coin so special and why it might just be worth a small fortune. Let's rewind a bit and set the stage. The year 1983 was a period of significant change for the U.S. Mint. By then, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for decades, with a few design changes over the years, but in 1983, something very interesting happened. Most of the quarters produced that year were the same as the ones you see every day, with the familiar image of George Washington on the front and an eagle on the back. But here's the twist, a few very rare 1983 quarters have unique characteristics or minting errors that could make them extremely valuable to collectors. Now, you might be thinking, how could a 1983 quarter be worth anything more than 25 cents? Well, here's where things get interesting. One of the key factors that can drastically increase the value of this coin is minting errors. Just like other coins, some 1983 quarters were struck with flaws during production. The most notable error associated with the 1983 quarter is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly during the minting process, creating a double image effect. It's often visible in the date or the lettering, and it can make the coin look slightly distorted, with details appearing twice. Double die coins are highly sought after by collectors, and the 1983 quarter is no exception. Finding a 1983 quarter with this type of error is incredibly rare, and when it's in good condition, it can command a pretty hefty price. But that's not all. Some 1983 quarters were struck with off-center errors or misalignments, adding to their rarity and appeal. These little imperfections are what make the coin stand out from all the others, and collectors love them because they're one of a kind. The condition of the coin is another crucial factor in determining its worth. As you probably know, coins that have been well preserved over the years are far more valuable than those that have been worn down or damaged from circulation. A 1983 quarter that is free from scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear is considered much more desirable, and its price can skyrocket when it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. So, how much is this 1983 quarter worth if you happen to have one of those rare error versions in mint condition? Hold on to your hats, because it could be worth as much as $89,000, yes, $89,000 for a single quarter. That's a huge jump from its original face value of just 25 cents. Imagine stumbling across one of these rare finds, whether it's a double die error, an off-center strike, or just a quarter that has been meticulously preserved. You could be holding on to a coin that could change your financial future. So, if you've got a collection of 1983 quarters, or if you come across one in your change, be sure to take a closer look. You never know, you could have a hidden treasure in your hands just waiting to be discovered. Top 5, we've got something that could really surprise you, a coin from the 1990s that's hidden in plain sight. That's right, we're talking about the 1995 United States quarter dollar. You might think this is just another standard quarter, but if you've got the right one, it could be worth a whole lot more than you might expect. Stick around as we break down what makes the 1995 quarter special and why it could be worth a small fortune. Let's set the stage. The 1990s were a time of economic growth in the United States, and by the mid-decade, the U.S. Mint had been producing quarters with the classic design of George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse for years. But even with this long-standing design, some 1995 quarters turned out to be far more than just everyday currency. For coin collectors, a specific set of circumstances made the 1995 quarter a highly sought-after coin, especially when it comes to rare errors and unusual characteristics. So, what makes the 1995 quarter so intriguing? Well, it all starts with the way these coins were minted. While the majority of 1995 quarters are standard issue, some of them came out with noticeable minting errors that turned them into rare, valuable finds. One of the key errors associated with the 1995 quarter is a double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or worn out, causing the image to be stamped more than once. The result? A coin with doubled features, like a double-dated year or distorted lettering, that is incredibly unique and highly prized by collectors, but that's not the only error to watch for. Some 1995 quarters were struck with off-center designs, or even smaller errors like die cracks or weak strikes, making them even more valuable. These errors are part of what makes certain 1995 quarters stand out from the rest, and when they're in good condition, they can command a much higher price. Now, let's talk about condition. Like any rare coin, the better shape it's in, the more valuable it becomes. A 1995 quarter that has been well preserved, with no visible scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear, will always fetch a higher price than a quarter that's been circulating for years. Coins that are in mint or near mint condition, showing minimal signs of use, are particularly desirable in the collector community. So, here's the big question: how much could your 1995 quarter be worth? If you happen to have one of those rare error coins from 1995 in excellent condition, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $75,000, yes, $75,000 for a single quarter. It's unbelievable to think that a coin from the 1990s, a time when quarters were still in circulation and weren't viewed as collectibles, could now be worth such an enormous sum. Whether it's a double die error, an off-center strike, or simply a well-preserved coin, your 1995 quarter could turn out to be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. So, next time you're going through your change or looking through your coin collection, take a closer look at those 1995 quarters. They could be worth far more than their face value. Top 6. We're bringing you a fascinating coin that could have a far higher value than you might expect. If you have any 1986 United States quarter dollars tucked away in your collection or perhaps sitting in your change jar, you'll want to pay close attention to this one. These seemingly ordinary quarters could be worth a whole lot more than you think. Stick around, because you'll be amazed at what some of these coins are selling for on the market. The 1986 quarter dollar might seem like just another run-of-the-mill coin from the 1980s. After all, the design is the same as the Washington quarters that had been in circulation for decades. You've got George Washington on the obverse, and the familiar eagle on the reverse. But here's the twist: some 1986 quarters were struck with rare minting errors that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. You wouldn't think that a coin from the 1980s could hold such potential, but the truth is that there are some very unique features that can turn a standard 1986 quarter into a collector's dream. One of the main reasons that some of these quarters are worth so much comes down to errors that occurred during the minting process. These errors can make a coin stand out, and collectors are always on the lookout for these special variations. One of the most sought-after errors for the 1986 quarter is the double die error. What happens here is that the coin's design is stamped multiple times by the die, creating a doubled or distorted image. You may notice this error in the date or the lettering, making the coin appear different from a normal quarter. This doubling can sometimes be subtle, but when it's visible, it can significantly boost the value of the coin. In addition to double die errors, some 1986 quarters were struck with other unusual characteristics, such as off-center strikes or misaligned designs. These types of errors happen when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, and while they might look like imperfections to some, to collectors, they're highly coveted. These rare variations make certain 1986 quarters worth far more than their face value. Another important factor when it comes to the value of these coins is their condition. The better the condition of the coin, the more it will be worth. A 1986 quarter that has been well preserved over the years, showing no signs of wear or damage, is much more valuable than one that's been circulated heavily. Coins in mint or near mint condition can fetch significantly higher prices, especially when they come from a year known for having rare errors. Now, you're probably wondering, how much is the 1986 quarter really worth if you've got one of these rare error coins in great condition? Well, the value of a 1986 quarter can vary, but if you have one of these error coins with a double die, off-center strike, or other rare characteristics, it could easily be worth as much as $83,000, yes, $83,000 for just one single quarter. Imagine the excitement of finding a quarter that's worth that much, especially when it was never meant to be anything more than pocket change. So, the next time you come across a 1986 quarter, whether it's in your collection or you spot one in your loose change, take a closer look. It might just be the rare find you've been waiting for. Top 7, we have something truly exciting for all you coin collectors out there. We're about to dive into a fascinating coin from the United States that may just be hiding in your collection or even in your pocket right now, the 1965 United States quarter dollar. It might look like a regular quarter at first glance, but trust me, this coin has a lot more value than you think. So, if you're ready to learn about one of the most valuable quarters out there, keep watching because you might just have a hidden treasure in your hands. Let's take a trip back to 1965 for a moment. The United States was going through a time of change in the mid-60s. The economy was booming, but the U.S. Mint faced a unique challenge that year. Due to a silver shortage, the U.S. government made the decision to remove silver from the composition of many of its coins. This meant that the 1965 quarter, unlike previous years, was no longer made with 90% silver but instead was composed of a copper-nickel blend. This change might seem like a minor detail, but for collectors, it made the 1965 quarter even more interesting. Now, you might be wondering, why is this coin so valuable? Well, it's not just because it was made during a time of change. What makes the 1965 quarter so special is the potential for certain rare errors that occurred during its minting process. You see, while most 1965 quarters are just regular coins, some of them were struck with minting errors that can make them incredibly rare, and that rarity is what drives up their value. One of the most coveted versions of the 1965 quarter features a double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or worn, which results in the design being stamped twice, creating a doubled effect on the coin. This could be seen in the date or the lettering, making the coin highly distinguishable from a normal quarter. For collectors, these kinds of error coins are a dream come true because they're rare, unique, and highly valuable, but that's not the only error to look out for in the 1965 quarter. Some coins from this year were struck off-center or with misaligned dies, which can make the design appear off-balance or distorted. These kinds of errors happen when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, and while they may seem like defects, collectors actually seek them out because they are one-of-a-kind pieces of history. The condition of the coin is also a major factor in determining its value. Like with most rare coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. A 1965 quarter that's been kept in pristine condition, free from scratches, dings, or discoloration, is far more valuable than one that's been heavily circulated. The less wear and tear on the coin, the more appealing it is to collectors, and the more money it can fetch in the market. So, how much is a 1965 quarter really worth? Well, if you happen to have a 1965 quarter with one of those rare minting errors, especially if it's in excellent condition, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $99,000, yes, $99,000 for a single quarter. It's unbelievable to think that a coin from 1965, which was just another piece of change back in the day, could be worth such a staggering amount today. If you've got a 1965 quarter lying around, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You might just have a valuable piece of history on your hands. Top 8, we've got an incredible coin that might be sitting right under your nose, a coin from 1996 that could actually be worth thousands of dollars. That's right, we're talking about the 1996 United States quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another regular quarter, but this coin has a surprising value that you won't want to miss. Stick around as we reveal why the 1996 quarter could be one of the most valuable pieces in your collection. Let's set the stage. The 1996 quarter was part of the regular series of Washington quarters, which have been in circulation for decades. On the front, you'll find George Washington's portrait, and on the back, you've got the classic eagle design. But what makes the 1996 quarter unique is that it was minted during a particularly interesting time in U.S. coin history. The mid-90s were a period of transition for the U.S. Mint, and though the coin might have looked standard at first, some 1996 quarters were produced with minting errors that make them incredibly valuable today. One of the main reasons why this coin is worth so much is because of rare mistakes that occurred during the minting process. If you've been following the world of rare coins, you know that errors are what make coins truly special. The 1996 quarter is no exception. Some of these quarters were struck with misaligned dies, causing the designs to appear slightly off-center or even doubled in some places. These errors are often subtle, but to a trained eye, they make all the difference. Another key factor that makes the 1996 quarter valuable is its condition. Just like with any rare coin, the better condition the coin is in, the more it's worth. A 1996 quarter that has been well preserved, without visible scratches, discoloration, or heavy wear, will always fetch a higher price than a coin that's been circulating for years. Coins that are in near-perfect condition are particularly desirable because they hold more of the original design, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that show minimal signs of usage. But wait, there's more. Some 1996 quarters were also struck with errors that are much rarer, such as the famous doubled die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts or misaligns slightly, causing certain features to appear twice. In many cases, this error shows up in the date or the lettering on the coin, and if you happen to have a 1996 quarter with this kind of mistake, you could have a highly valuable coin in your hands. So, you're probably wondering, how much could a 1996 quarter actually be worth if you've got one of these rare error coins? Well, if you're lucky enough to have a 1996 quarter with one of these minting errors and it's in great condition, you could be looking at a coin worth as much as $59,000, yes, $59,000 for a single quarter. It's pretty incredible to think that a coin from the 1990s could hold such value, but that's the beauty of rare minting errors and well-preserved coins. You never know what you might find in your pocket change, and coins that once seemed like nothing more than regular currency can end up being worth a small fortune. So, next time you go through your collection or sift through your spare change, take a closer look at those 1996 quarters. You might be holding on to something that's worth way more than its face value. Top 9. We're about to take a deep dive into the world of the 1998 United States quarter dollar. This might seem like just another run-of-the-mill quarter, but trust me, there's more to this coin than meets the eye. What if I told you that this seemingly ordinary quarter could be worth thousands of dollars? Stick around as we explore how a 1998 quarter can be worth a fortune, and how you could be holding one without even knowing it. So, let's start by taking a quick look at the history of the 1998 quarter. At the time, the U.S. Mint was still producing quarters with the standard Washington design that we all know. George Washington's portrait is on the front, and the reverse features an eagle, which has been the hallmark of the quarter for many years. On the surface, nothing seems extraordinary about the 1998 quarter, but what sets this year apart is the possibility of rare minting errors that can make this coin a collector's dream. As you may know, minting errors are what make certain coins so valuable. The 1998 quarter, in particular, has been known to feature some very rare and highly desirable mistakes. One of the most common errors is the double die error. This happens when the coin's die is misaligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck more than once. The result? A doubled image, often visible in the date or lettering. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1998 quarter with a double die error, you could be holding a coin that's worth a small fortune, but that's not the only thing to look for. Some 1998 quarters were struck with off-center errors, where the design appears misaligned on the coin. These coins are considered unique because they're the result of a mistake during the minting process, and collectors go wild for them. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become. If you've got a 1998 quarter with one of these errors, it could be a real treasure. Of course, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value as well. A coin that has been carefully preserved over the years, free from wear, scratches, or discoloration, is always going to be more valuable than one that has been heavily circulated. If you find a 1998 quarter that is in near-perfect condition, whether it has an error or not, you've got something that could easily be worth more than you'd expect. So, how much are these 1998 quarters actually worth? If you happen to have one of the rare error coins, in great condition, you could be looking at a quarter that is worth as much as $55,000, yes, $55,000 for just one coin. it's incredible to think that a coin from 1998, a year not too far behind us, could be worth so much. Whether it's a double die error, off-center strike, or just a well-preserved piece, your 1998 quarter could be the lucky find you've been waiting for. So, next time you're going through your coins or hunting for rare pieces in your collection, don't forget to keep an eye out for the 1998 quarter. You might just have a small fortune sitting right in front of you. Top 10. And this last videos is just for you if you are a coin collector. We're talking about the 1994 United States quarter dollar, and trust me, this coin could be worth far more than you think. At first glance, it might just look like any other quarter, but there's a lot more to this coin than meets the eye. Stick around to find out how a simple 1994 quarter could turn into a rare collector's item worth thousands. So, let's take a moment to set the stage. In 1994, the U.S. Mint was still producing the traditional Washington quarter that we're all familiar with, George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. These coins were circulating regularly at the time, just like any other quarter, and you probably wouldn't have thought twice about them back in the day. But here's where things get interesting. Hidden within the mass-produced quarters from this year are some incredibly rare and valuable minting errors that can make them worth a lot of money. The key to the 1994 quarter's value lies in these rare errors. Collectors go wild for these kinds of coins, and if you happen to have one in your possession, you could be sitting on a small fortune. One of the most common errors associated with the 1994 quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin becomes misaligned during the minting process, causing some features to be stamped more than once. The result is a doubled image, and you may notice this error in the date, the lettering, or even parts of the portrait. This subtle but noticeable defect makes the coin highly sought after by collectors who love finding these one-of-a-kind pieces, but that's not all. Some 1994 quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design was misaligned during the minting process. This type of error is highly desirable because it makes the coin stand out as a rare and unique piece. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. If you find a 1994 quarter with an off-center strike, or even a more rare variation of the error, you could be looking at something worth a lot more than its face value. Another important factor to consider is the condition of the coin. As with any rare coin, the better the condition, the more valuable it is. A 1994 quarter that has been kept in mint condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or any signs of heavy circulation, will always be more valuable than one that has seen years of wear. Coins that are in near-perfect condition are in high demand, especially when they come from a year that has been known to have rare errors. Now, you might be wondering, how much could a 1994 quarter actually be worth? If you happen to have one of these rare error coins, whether it's a double die, off-center strike, or another minting error, and it's in excellent condition, your 1994 quarter could be worth as much as $60,000. Yes, $60,000 for just a single quarter. It's crazy to think that a coin from 1994, a time when these quarters were simply seen as everyday change, could now be worth such a large amount. Whether it's a subtle double die or a dramatic off-center strike, your 1994 quarter could be a hidden gem. So, next time you're going through your coin collection or sifting through some spare change, keep an eye out for that 1994 quarter. It might just be worth far more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future coin discoveries. Happy collecting, and who knows, maybe the next big find is in your collection.